So broadcasting live from Green Street, the highest Republican in the game, well known by many for smoking on the best weed in the world, and also the cannabis industry's longest continuously operating retailer. And I'm sure none of those 1.5 million grift dollars raised by his favorite ex-president this week to fight off the haters came from him. But I will digress. Up next,
You know what? You know what's funny? Funny you mentioned all of that, Rico, because my story actually does deal with a grift fund of some sorts, which I'm pretty sure that you will enjoy. Because
familiar with that as an avid student of your mentor, Donald J. Trump.
I have a I have an original story here for you guys.
Bring it.
All right, so here you go. I put this together real fast this morning for everybody, so I hope everybody enjoys. Because yesterday, New York's GOP comes out blasting the slow rollout of the NYC program and effects on public safety. And then Governor Hochul blasts right back fast. That's right. Assembly Republicans wrote to Governor Hochul and Controller Tom D. Naproni today, and this was yesterday, calling for an audit of the state's cannabis program and enforcement plan to address the growing number of illegal stores. The state GOP lawmakers came out swinging on a slow rollout of the adult use market in a quote, to date, and this is out of the letter to the governor, in a quote, to date, fewer than 10 stores have opened. The state's delayed and dysfunctional implementation has predictably opened a window for illegal cannabis shops to gain a foothold, and they have seized the opportunity because the state is responsible for creating the current market conditions. We would like to know how state officials intend to respond. In another quote, the passage of Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act, the MRTA, in 2021 was met with celebration and lofty promises by those who supported the measure. More than 2 years later, few, if any, of those promises have been met. And the letter continues to say, to date, fewer than 10 stores have opened. The state's delayed and dysfunctional implementation has predictably opened a window for the illegal cannabis shops to gain a foothold, and they have seized the opportunity. Mayor Eric Adams estimates approximately 1,500 illegal shops are operating in New York City alone. New York is not the first state to open up a cannabis retail market. However, rather than give proper consideration to qualified individuals and organizations with experience and a track record of success, the OCM, the Office of Cannabis Management, has prioritized applicants with criminal histories and drug offenses in its attempt to fund the approach. The Dormitory Authority of the State of New York, DASNY, D-A-S-N-Y, who was tasked with raising a $150 million social equity cannabis investment fund. At last report, DASNY isn't even close to meeting that obligation. So now here's Governor Hochul's comeback. So Governor Hochul blasts back by introducing legislation to clean up the mess. Legislation will allow the state to shut down illegal cannabis storefront dispensaries as quickly as possible. Stores could be fined more than $10,000 per day for unlawful activities. She says this will strengthen ongoing enforcement efforts by giving new enforcement powers to the Office of Cannabis Management and the Department of Taxation and Finance. The law would maintain New York's nation-leading cannabis equity provisions while ensuring a heavily regulated cannabis industry that protects consumers and legal sales, she claims. I call BS on all of that. But whatever, we're going to continue. Over the past several weeks, I have been working with the legislature on new legislation to improve New York's regulatory structure for cannabis products, Governor Hochul said. The continued existence of illegal dispensaries is unacceptable, and we need additional enforcement tools to protect New Yorkers from dangerous products and support our equality initiatives. I am proud of our continued progress creating the entirely new legal cannabis industry and helping legal dispensaries open their doors to offer safer cannabis products to New Yorkers, she says. The new legislation, which is being introduced as a governor's program bill in the Senate and Assembly, amends the tax law and the cannabis law to enable the Office of Cannabis Management, the Department of Taxation and Finance, and local enforcement to enforce restrictions on unlicensed storefront dispensaries. The legislation does not impose any new penalties related to cannabis possession by an individual for personal use, and does not allow law enforcement to perform enforcement actions against individuals. The legislation, for the first time, would allow OCM and DTF to crack down on unlicensed activity, protect New Yorkers, and ensure the success of new cannabis businesses in New York. The legislation would restructure current illicit cannabis penalties to give DTF peace officers enforcement authority, create a manageable, credible, fair enforcement system, and would impose new penalties for retailers that evade state cannabis taxes. Additionally, it would clarify and expand OCM's authority to seize illicit product, establish summary producers for OCM and other government entities to shut down unlicensed dispensaries, and create a framework for more effective cross-agency enforcement efforts. Violations of the law could lead to fines of $200,000 for illicit cannabis plants or products, and would allow OCM to fine businesses $10,000 per day for engaging in cannabis sales without a license. The Office of Cannabis Management Executive Director Chris Alexander said the success of New York's historic equity-based approach to cannabis industry depends on upholding our cannabis laws. Entrepreneurs looking to participate in our legal cannabis industry, especially justice-involved individuals looking for a CAURD license, are being economically harmed by bad actors failing their storefronts with products that are questionable, unregulated, and potentially dangerous. The Office of Cannabis Management is fully committed to working with our partners across the state to permanently shut these operations down and allow legal licensed businesses to grow and thrive. Hold on, we got one more corny comment, you guys. New York State Acting Commissioner of Taxation and Finance, Amanda Hiller, said New York State is building its cannabis market while advancing the unique social equity components of the MRTA. Adult use cannabis taxes fund our schools and drug treatment and public education programs, and these taxes also contribute to the New York State Community Grants Reinvestment Fund, which reinvests tax revenue from cannabis sales to communities most impacted over policing and cannabis prohibition. The new essential tax enforcement capabilities will allow us to crack down on illegal operations and help ensure these overdue opportunities exist for those communities. Well, I mean, this all sounds like a whole bunch of hogwash to me, and a whole bunch of yeah, and they're not going to do nothing. But I want to hear what you guys have to say, and this is Jason Beck reporting for the High at 9 News. What do y'all say?